How are you this morning? I see you there.
Good, thank you, Chuck. Mr. Chairman.
Jay, can you hear me as well? I know you're on mute, but I just want to make sure you loud and clear. And
I got you, Chuck. I got you.
Ryan, you're good too? Okay, great.
Yeah, I can hear you.
We have a Brian J and a Brian H here. Can they hear us as well? Start with Brian J.
Yes.
Great, Brian H. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Let's begin. Today, good morning, everybody. Welcome to. Sorry, Rachel. Can you turn on the tape for us, the recorder?
Yep, you're all set.
Very good. Thank you. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Today is December 14th, 2023. Welcome to the special meeting of the Plumbing Piping Work Examining Board. The meeting was scheduled for 9 a.m. It's approximately 9:06 a.m. We'll be starting this meeting. We have a quorum for the board, and I appreciate everybody taking the time to be here today. At this time, our first under new business will be a review of 310 West Shore Road, Groton, Connecticut, in reference to I believe it's a geothermal borehole that they want to have installed. And if we could get, I believe, is the homeowner, the well driller, and the contractor here to answer any and all questions that we have for them today?
Yes.
Great. And who is the well driller of record on the job?
Connecticut Well Drilling.
Connecticut Wells.
Okay, and we have Connecticut with us today?
Yeah, Rob Loftus with Connecticut Wells. I'm here.
Okay, Rob, sorry, I didn't see you there. I appreciate it. Okay, so let's begin with, I guess, who wants to begin? Rob, you're the well driller of record. You're working for a contractor, and we have a homeowner here as well. Is that you, Brian H? Okay, very good.
It is. Yeah. Thank you.
You want to give us your thoughts of what you're trying to accomplish here?
You're talking to me, Rob?
Yes, sir.
So the goal would be we need to install one 400-foot deep closed loop geothermal well, which typically requires a 10-foot minimum separation distance from a catch basin or an open drain. And in this situation, it's not possible to get those setbacks. So we're looking for a variance.
Okay, I'm looking for an A2 survey. Is there an A2 done by a licensed PE in the state of Connecticut that has all the setbacks here? I see what looks like a very colorful document. Is that what's being used as the document of record today?
This is Brian from Yankee Ramaba.
Yes.
I supplied that document there. I wasn't aware that we were going to need an A2 survey on it. That comes from the GIS website.
Okay, we're just looking for scale, if you know what I mean. I'm not running this like a town meeting, but I'm trying to at least inform all the board members of exactly what our distances and clearances are from the house or proposed houses and sewers and water. We do have some information on the GIS paperwork here that shows a lot of different things going on here. Like, do we have an existing well on this property? Do we have neighboring wells that have wells, drinking water wells? I realize this area must be pretty much all city sewer, correct?
Correct.
Yep. Okay. All right. So I just want to bring a couple notes. All right. So you're saying right now, tentatively, without an A2, that you have approximately you're short 5 feet from this catch basin open drain system, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, Chuck, if it's appropriate, this is Brian Hull. I'm the homeowner, and I thought maybe just for everybody's benefit, some background and context on the area
Sure.
that the property's in.
Mhm.
It's a really old sort of beach community that was incorporated in the 1920s. When it was incorporated, the land was chopped up into really small parcels. So they're, I don't know what it is. Brian Johnson can probably give me the exact details, but it's like 40 feet wide by 80 feet deep or something like that. And all of the parcels are that way. And when these beach cottages were built, there was no sort of zoning oriented setbacks or anything like that. So a lot of these houses take up the footprint of the house, takes up almost the entirety of the footprint of the property itself, if that makes sense. Now, if you were to build a house today, you wouldn't be allowed to do that. You'd have to have, larger setbacks from property lines, et cetera, from a planning and zoning perspective, which I know is different than your inquiry. But the reason I'm giving you that background is because, Brian and our drilling group have worked tirelessly, basically, to find a spot on the property where you could actually fit the drilling rig in and drill within a safe distance from our house and the neighboring properties. Now, fortunately, the neighboring properties to us, the ones immediately adjacent to us, have no development. So they are empty lots, and you can see that on that GIS map that Brian sent you.
Yeah.
And essentially, literally the only spots on our property that you could put a borehole to install this sort of energy efficient and more climate friendly, heating and cooling system are the spots that Brian and the drilling folks have identified. And when we finally got, all the mathematical gymnastics and everything done to figure that out, we realized that actually that catch drain that's underneath the road in front of our property runs not only from, if you're facing our house, the left of the house, it doesn't just run out to the water there, it runs out to the water, but it actually runs in front of the house as well. So it's not on our property, it's under the road that's, our property abuts, but it's within 10 feet of the house. So that's just some background for you on sort of context on the house and how we ended up, here with you. So essentially what that means is this is our sort of port of last resort, if you will. So if we can't get, approval to drill where these guys have identified, is our only accessible spot, we just cannot use this kind of climate friendly, energy efficient heating and cooling system. So otherwise we wouldn't have wasted your time. We would have just looked for another spot, on the property and done it that way. So I just share that with you all so that you have context and background on why we're even having this discussion.
Brian, you feel as though you do have another spot on the location? Is that what you just said, that you could?
No, we do not.
Okay.
No, the reason we're here is because we've exhausted all avenues and there is literally no other spot.
Gotcha. What about the neighbors now? There's a sanitarian, Joseph Blanchard, that is in an email as well. He's looking at number 3 as well with us. Do you have the documents that we have in front of us that we are looking at? Does Brian J, Brian H, you have copies of this as well in front of you? Showing the distances, 10 feet from surface water or groundwater drainage structures or piping. It's under section 25-128-41A of our state statutes. There you go. Great. So I got an email here. I think Brian was involved with the sanitarian. Is he here today as well, the sanitarian, to discuss this? Because we want to make sure that our neighbors surrounding these properties are looked and respected as well with their lots and their future plans too, and setbacks as well. So because if there's an empty lot, which looks like there's an empty lot here next to you, I'm concerned we might mess up their potential plans or future, or their structure, future plans for a structure there as well. That's why I was.
Well,
looking-
I'm not sure who the person you're referring to is not one of our neighbors.
No, he's the local sanitarian. He's with Ledge Light Health District.
Okay,
Chuck,
got
let
it.
me jump in. Brian, if I can jump in, this is Brian Johnson.
Yeah,
So the sanitarian actually pushed it up to John Mesner. He said it was kind of beyond, above his pay grade. And that's how I got a hold of John Mesner. And you're correct. There's a vacant lot that they're considering putting a house on in the future. We're actually considering to do geothermal on that property as well, which would be well within all of the codes, because of the fact that there's no structure there now where geothermal can be put in before the foundation, which we don't have that luxury.
Okay.
and the other thing I would say too is that the side of the house that we've located as our only, drilling opportunity is in front of the house. So it's not adjacent to any of our neighboring properties. There's just a road in front of us.
Okay. Aaron Nachbar would like to speak. He's our well drilling representative from this board. I would let Aaron come on right now. Aaron?
Just to add that you mentioned, Chuck, you were concerned about radius in the future. This is a closed loop geothermal well. There is no well. There is no longer a well once it is grouted. It is no longer an issue. So there is no radius around a geothermal, a closed loop geothermal borehole once it's finished.
Okay. So now, would we be concerned about an existing well, irrigation well, or something that's been approved by the Department of Health or Public Utilities that's been approved in the past, signed off by the Department of Health in these areas? I mean, I realize what you're saying. It's a borehole, it's sealed, and what have you. Are there any concerns in this radius? Because obviously, number 8 says 200 feet from a public well with a draw rate of 50 gallons per minute. Such distance shall not be reduced. So that's kind of where we're at here. I was just wondering if we need to look a little further into the neighborhood to see what they have for possible wells.
Based upon the information that I read from the sanitarian in question here, there is nothing. There's no impact on anything public supply related that I could see. It's very coastal. I don't think there are any community water systems. I believe it is all pipe water there, public water. How far is this going to be from the footing drain of the new structure? Is there a footing drain around this house?
No.
Okay, so that's not a concern. So the only concern we have is from the drain and the drain pipe. Sewer line is more than 25 feet away, correct?
10 feet, more than 10 feet away.
How far away is the sewer line from this proposed borehole? That I couldn't tell on the plan.
Bob Loftus, do you have that?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I believe it's around 13 feet.
Okay. That's.
I'd like to see an actual A2 survey of the property. There must be one somewhere in order to get a permit for this house. Do you have anything, Brian, that you can put up in front of us today here to show us a survey map from a registered PE?
I don't believe I do, no.
Do you know if there is an A2 survey on the property at all?
I don't. I could find out, and I'd have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
The sewer line, this is Rob with Connecticut Wells. The sewer line, obviously, and all the utilities are marked on site. And there's really only one spot in front of the building that allows us for the 10-foot plus separation from that sewer line to the closed loop geothermal well. So, you know, I understand that you're looking for the survey, but I can assure you that it is 12 or 13 feet. I don't have I'm driving at the moment, but it is within the setbacks required for the permit.
Hey, Rob, what kind of room do you have from the top of the tower to the power lines?
Well, that was the issue. There is no, the power lines, if we can sit in front of the building, there's not going to be an issue with the power lines. There is a guide wire on, I believe it's the west side of the building. Again, I'm not sure, but there's a guide wire that's preventing us from putting two geothermal wells in there and maintaining the separation. But the power line, there is no power line issues.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think if we could get some exact measurements on paper, I think that would be important. Other than that, I don't have any other issues.
Yeah, I'd like to see the sanitarian at least do a rotation around the property to see where things are located on other properties as well. Maybe, you know, I prefer a day 2 survey. This shows all this, so we have a document from a licensed individual, and perhaps Mr. Blanchard could, with that, we've seen other municipalities do that in the past with other wells. So I think this should definitely be looked at too before any decision from this board is made.
And I think the main reason that's super important to everybody is as soon as you do this, Mr. Hull, all your neighbors are going to want to do this, and it's going to be, none of this is compliant, and so it'll start a trend, which we prefer to not have to do. So if we have a proper routine here, everybody will have their ducks in a row when this happens.
Yeah, that's understood. I mean, we're happy to make you feel as comfortable as we can. I think we're trying to do something I think that the state is encouraging people to do, right? Installing these kind of energy efficient, climate friendly systems, but obviously we're constrained by property size, essentially.
Well, we want to see everybody use geothermal, and these criteria are not coming from consumer protection. This criteria is from the health department. If we had had our way with geothermal, we would be able to drill even a little bit closer. But this is the best compromise we could come up with between the two departments.
Yep.
But as long as we got some exact measurements like Chuck asked for, I think that's super important. I didn't realize there wasn't an actual map with measurements on it.
So I do have.
At least it's a start. At least it's a start.
So when you're saying exact measurements, so I do have a CBYD marked, and that's what I used with Rob Loftus. And we went through, and we know where the water is, the sewer, the electric, and everything else, where we made the determination for the eligibility of this location. Again, it's not an A2 survey; it's a CBYD. So everybody's kind of signed off on everything, all the different entities.
Right.
I'm not sure if that suffices or not.
If we could get that on a survey, it doesn't need to be an A2, but it would, so that all the numbers are, all the property lines are delineated and the distances from each utility to a property line and to Rob's setup. And we should ask, I didn't realize it wasn't in there. I would have asked for this with John Mesner before because we've been talking about it. So I overlooked that. I thought there was an actual plan there.
If I may, Aaron, I would think we would want this the A2 survey. That way it's on file that we've asked for the survey. It's done by a licensed person. And if it goes on down the line with the neighbors, this is what we've used, not just a CBYD,
right,
but an actual survey.
Jay, any survey of that property, if we get involved with an A2, and if they don't have an actual A2 for this property, this might take 3 months. I know all my surveyors are out months and months and months, and I'm sure everybody would like to get on with this.
But I have the concerns too. We want to make sure that the sanitarian has looked into the protection of the neighbors too. I understand Brian H. wants to move on with this too, and the well drillers and everybody else, but we need to protect the homeowners next door as well. And if it's not going to be the A2, that the A2 will take care of the homeowner situation today, but we want to make sure that the neighbors are protected too, especially their possible drinking wells that could have been, even though they could be 50 or 100-year-old wells on site made of stone. We want to make sure that those neighbors are protected as well, because we're going to be setting a precedence here across Connecticut, and we should be looking at the national ground rules for wells. The plumbing board has to protect the underground water. We're involved with DPH. We're involved with DEEP. When we took us 18 years to write these regulations, we got them approved 4 years ago, and we have licensure for that. We have what we call a W7 contractor license that's required to drill a borehole in Connecticut now. So we've got all sorts of stuff that we've worked on with the trade associations to come to the point of where we are today. So we should be really looking at everything as well. I've done years of studying on this as well, my own time to study the technologies, and this is what we came up with in Connecticut.
I'm gonna agree with Chuck on that. I mean, if we permit something to happen, right, and it's not up to code or regulations, and just say something does go wrong with somebody's neighboring property, I don't know if it's in our best interest to do that. So maybe with the survey, knowing that everything is not on a well, everything is good distances away. The only thing would be the storm drain heading out to the water. I mean, we possibly could make that variance, but without knowing the neighbor situations and just approving you to do it, I think would be a disservice to the rest of the people in the community.
If I can kind of jump in here. So the sanitarian, when I spoke with him again, where he pushed it up to John Mesner. So the only thing that didn't meet his criteria was the distance to the storm drain. So I understand that we don't want to disrupt somebody else's water. We don't want to disrupt anything else and whatnot, but everything else met that criteria. So aren't we looking to find out right now today, the one thing that we need to do is to get a variance because the distance from that storm drain is not 10 feet, which I guess from what I understand, just a couple of years ago, that code did not exist. So do we need to go through all of those things? Just, in other words, if that storm drain wasn't there, we wouldn't have this meeting. We would have already probably drilled that well. But it's the storm drain that we're concerned about, and not neighbors and all of the other things.
I'll let Mr. Pember chime in on that one, please.
So I took a couple hours yesterday and I drove out by the house, and I looked around at the neighborhood, and it's a typical beach community, which is pretty consistent with all of Long Island Sound. And I have a concern about the 10 feet. I looked at Massachusetts has 10 feet, Rhode Island has 10 feet. And I started to look into some of my books, because 6-7 years ago, I took a couple classes in geothermal. And it seems to be a national setback of 10 feet. It's not something I don't think that Connecticut alone did. I think it seems to be a national thing. So I think we're open up and need to spend some time, get an A2 survey, really understand why is it 10 feet? What was the reasoning originally for 10 feet? The other thing I looked up was capping some of these wells with the grout. And I understand that the grouting is important, but there's a failure rate on grouting. I tried to also look that up to see what % of wells that get grouted. They don't have that information, because once the things are grouted, no one's going back and checking until there's a problem. So there's no information on that. So this becomes the 10-foot rule is, again, to me, something that we really need to understand. Why is it there? Who is asking for that 10-foot rule? And then now we're going to be moving closer. So now my next question is, now that we're giving or you're asking for a variance, what is the failure rate of grout? Because you're asking us to do something and move closer. I don't feel that the board should be putting our neck on that line. It seems like it's a national setback. I don't know if Connecticut wants to be the first one when we're not understanding. And it's also multi organizations. I mean, we would have to sit down with the health department. I think we need to sit down with a lot of different people before we could give a step back.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Does any of the other board members this morning have anything to add to this conversation? Okay, would somebody like to make a motion to table this until further information is made, or what's everybody's thoughts on that today?
Actually, can I just jump in one more time? So
Yes,
just to be clear, if
Brian, can you hang on one sec? Peter
Sure.
Alfieri, one of the board members, has his hand up before you.
I was going to make the motion, Chuck.
Okay,
The
let's
table it
let
until we get more
Brian,
information.
yeah, let's Brian make, he's got a statement he wants to finalize with us real quick, if you don't mind. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, so I just want to be clear of what we need to accomplish in order to, I guess, what we're gonna do, what you need from me, and when we might be able to reconvene, I guess.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, Peter.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this till we get further information.
Second motion.
Do we have any further discussion by the board? Having none, all in favor of making the motion to table this till further information is given to the board through DCP John Mesner, say aye.
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 Deny? So moved. Okay. So Brian J. from Yankee Remodeler, you can reach out to Mr. Mesner. He'll have at a later time a list of requirements that we're going to be asking for you to supply. And of course, it'll be bringing in the health district as well to get their 2 cents for your neighbors over there. And I wish you guys all the luck and a Merry Christmas to both of you. Thank you for coming, and Rob for coming out as the well driller as well. Appreciate your taking the time and trying to support your consumers. Ryan has something to say, the attorney for the state.
Yeah, yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. If that issue is passed, I was just wondering if you'd permit me to make a brief introduction of some new attorneys as I have to run to at 10 o'clock after this, before you take up your next issue.
Thank you, Ryan. Please, you got the floor, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, if James Rocco and Annalisa could join us. We, as the board knows, we have been a bit short-staffed for legal support for the occupational professional trades. I'm happy to report that we've filled both vacancies and we should be able to move more of your matters forward. So you should be seeing some more activity, both in plumbing and in the occupational trades in general. First, I'd like to introduce James Rocco. He joins us from the state legislature, an experienced attorney, and we'll be working with an attorney in both occupational trades and real estate. So, James.
Nice to meet you all. I did introduce myself very briefly before the meeting, but I just want to say I'm looking forward to working with DCP, and I do have some foundational knowledge, staff in the General Law Committee, which passed all the regulations and statutes for 393 and Title 20. So looking forward to working with everyone, and yeah, thank you.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you, and please reach out with all your contact information through John so we have that. And welcome, Anna Elizabeth.
Yeah. Anna, go ahead.
Yep. So yeah, I'm the one with all the hyphens in my name. It tends to fall off the chart. So I go as Annalisa.
Okay.
Relatively new to law, coming in after almost 16 years active duty on research ships. So this is, I'm coming ashore. I feel like my gills are drying up, but most of what I know is maritime based. So I'm looking forward to learning the land stuff.
Oh, great. Well, we have plenty to share in Connecticut with you on that. Ryan will definitely tell you about that with what we're doing with energy consciousness in Connecticut. So, and geothermal. So, with that said, so welcome aboard, both of you, and we wish you the luck. And we are open to you guys at any time. I should say that about myself. After 4 o'clock, I don't know if anybody else wants to be bothered, but you're always welcome to reach out to Chairman Appleby here for any of your thoughts or insights after hours. Or I do take Christmas morning off for at least a few hours, but other than that, thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just one final issue. This will likely be the last time I'm going to be addressing the board, as I'm going to be moving on at the beginning of the year over to the Department of Public Health. I appreciate all the work that we've done together and your support, but the department remains in good hands, and I'm sure you will be well supported going forward. So thank
Ryan, that's you just dropped the bomb on me here.
Sorry,
but at
Mr.
least,
Chair.
what you're going over to public health. So you know what, you guys, James and Anna, please get his email, because if he's over at health, we're going to need him as we transition all this stuff. We need to keep him close to us because he's got a lot of wealth of knowledge from DCP here. And Ryan, let me say on behalf of the board, really appreciate all your input and time invested since you've been with us here. You've been a major help to me and the board in decision making, and you've done an excellent job. And we wish you all the best in your next endeavors.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'll let you get back to your meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so James and Anna, Lisa, oh, she stepped out, I guess. But anyhow, I guess you might be finishing the meeting with us. It kind of sounds like you're on board with us. So what we're going to do is we're going to be going into discussion of the CE and get a vote today on the approval of the draft curriculum for the next 2 years for plumbers and different license types. At this time, has board members had a chance to review from the online documents the curriculums? And if so, if they have any questions, or we can vote for approval this morning. And I don't see any hands up. Okay, Melissa has her hand up.
So I saw that this was posted on the DCP site and we're going to approve it today. I didn't realize that for the length of time that I've sat on the board always approved it before it was posted. But Chuck, you and I had a conversation. I guess we won't be doing that in the future. So I'm a little confused about the process. That's number one. Number two, I talked to Marcy and Olivia. They've had some plumbers calling stressed that they can't get their, P1 training because it's they're getting nervous. So I guess P1s are supposed to have it between January and July. So I just want to make sure that we don't have a repeat of getting it posted so late for everybody.
Well, unfortunately,
so
this is a volunteer group.
I know.
And we have to take, it's a big year because we're 2 years. We're catching up on business law for 2 years as well. So it took a lot of effort on behalf of the subcommittee to put all this together, because there is quite a bit. We apologize for that. I've apologized. I'm sorry it went on to the website. I didn't realize that was, but as you know, I discussed with you that we were going to, you'd asked to have it come in front of today's board and let the department make that decision. So going forward, I think Mr. Pember and myself have talked as well about coming up with another plan to roll out the CE in an earlier time frame, more organized. Some some providers do a great job, some are not as great of a job. So we're trying to level that out. I think Mr. Pember's thoughts were well thought out about that. And what was the other part, Melissa? That you
So
had a
so let's just talk about the process. Up until this year, we've always approved the curriculum and the providers. So now you told me, Chuck, we don't need to approve the curriculum. John Mesner said we don't need to. That's new information to me. So I just want to make sure we have a process in place that we all understand. I don't know if other board members knew that we don't any longer have to approve the curriculum outline.
Okay, is John still with us this morning, John?
Yep, I'm here.
Thanks.
Can you
wanna
clarify
answer
that, please?
Yeah.
So when that topic came up, I was informed that did not require a formal vote by the board. I don't, and I apologize because I called in, so I can't see who's on the call right now. Is Jason on?
No. Oh, yes, he is.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah, he
Jason's
is.
there. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, I'm here.
Jason, could you elaborate on that if you don't mind?
I mean, I don't have much to elaborate. I'm definitely not the expert.
On the
Well,
topic
it's
of the
fine.
curriculum
If we
requiring,
don't,
not requiring.
if we don't need to vote on it, it's fine. It's just a change from previous years.
Yeah, I mean, I would have legal confirm what the requirement is.
Right.
Well, I don't want to hold up this year's process. So I just think we need to have a complete understanding and process moving forward. I think we're
Sure.
prepared to vote for today.
Okay.
But if you could just get back to us and clarify that in the future, that'd be great. And then the next part of that is the DCP approving each provider, or does that come to the board as well? Because in prior years, it has come to the board for approval.
Right, and that's and the only piece was because of the complexity of CE with the uploads and the time frame that Mr. Pember, Mr. Policia spent working with providers. We wanted to roll it back to the department to do their stuff because for the last few years, as you know, Melissa, with COVID, Chairman Valeries and myself have taken a role as the new and retired employees go out and the new ones come in. We've made this decisions. It's been overwhelming for all of us. We're trying to push the things back to the department to make those decisions.
Okay.
I believe Mr. Ryan, the legal that has just stepped out just recently, will pass this on to James and Anna Lisa to formulate a legal aspect, I guess, on this. We still at the board level create the curriculum and we still approve it as a committee. If it vote or no vote, we'll have to work that out. I think that's something that's very easy to discuss. We can bring it back. However, we do want to roll it out sooner than later. We don't want to wait for special meetings and another 6 months, another 6 weeks or whatever, or 6 days even. We want to get this out. So that'll be James and Anna, Lisa, that'll be your first task to come up with that with us in agreement. And then I guess at this point, we're ready for a vote if anybody wants to make a motion.
Can I just clarify? I'm sorry, Chuck. I don't need to see it myself, and it's fine if we don't and the DCP reviews it. I was just looking for clarification as to if we legally had to.
Yeah.
So James,
and I think we
Annalise?
do. I think we do because some years like this curriculum is very extensive, and we're catching up 2 years after COVID. We got a lot of laws in here that went into effect, and we want to make sure that the contractors and journeymen get that. I even thought over the course of the last couple of days, maybe we should take the hours from 5 hours now back to 7 based on all this material. But I think at this time, I think 5 hours should be okay. But I think we need to be able to know that. We've always said that we'll be able to decide based on curriculum changes and that's the board decision to make, not the departments to make. I think that should be pretty clear with everybody as well. Still, I hope that we have control over that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to just jump in here real quick. being with the department for about 3 weeks now, I don't want to speak out of turn. So I'm happy to discuss Melissa's concerns and Chuck's response with Ryan and get back to the board.
Yeah, do you have a transitional period between yourselves and Ryan to discuss all this, or is he?
This is it. You're looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah, Ryan's on with DCP for, don't quote me on the days, but I think another 3 weeks about. And so we're in the transitional period now.
Okay, so you can work with him with what's been discussed and everything. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Great. Okay. Is that good with everybody? Does anybody have any further questions on anything? Did we hit all the topics? Going to ask for a motion now. After Joe Pleacha gets a glass of water. Joe, take a break, get a glass of water for yourself.
I'm good, thank you.
Joe, is it something I said?
It was. No, I'm kidding. No, it's fine. I'm fine.
Okay, great. All right. Would somebody like to make a motion on the draft outline for the continuing education curriculum for plumbers and different license holders for 24-25 years?
Make a motion to accept.
Okay.
Second.
Oh, I didn't see Kimberly there. Kimberly, welcome. Thank you, Kimberly. We have
You're
a
welcome.
motion.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Good to hear from you. Can you, do we have a second at all from anyone on the
I
curriculum?
second the motion, Chuck.
Great. Thank you, Jay. Is there any further discussion from the board referencing the continuing education curriculum outline today? Having seen no problem, all in favor say aye.
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 Okay, any denies? No, any abstentions? All in favor? Thank you, everyone. This now can be put on the website as no longer a draft outline, but the outline for the department for the plumbing licensing peoples. I'd like to go back in our package this morning. Did everybody happen to see we had meeting minutes from October 26th in 2023 here? I believe we could make if there's a motion to accept that.
Make the motion.
I have a question on the
Okay.
minutes.
Sure.
Possibly amend. I want to have John Mesner confirm that he had added in there about open book exams, that all licenses were to be open book, or is it just the W licenses exams?
We were only looking at the W licenses, so the W 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 7, 8, 9, 10 were already open book exams.
Could we just change the wording in the minutes to reflect that it is just in fact the W licenses and not all licenses?
For the exam review portion?
Yes, I think we could just change the all. Now, the J1 and J2 is an apprenticeship. Does the that's through a school, correct? The Connecticut Water Well Association is an approved provider, so they
J and W. I
Yeah,
guess
the
is what John's
okay.
alluding to, right?
Right. That's what I would say. Both categories should be open book. So all well licenses, and we can state them W1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Since 7, 8, and 9 are already open book, that all well licenses are now open book, including the J1 and J2 license categories.
Just in case somebody ever picked up on that and tried to interpret that differently.
Okay, does any board members have any problem with that, or is that just administrative change?
Good.
Make a
I see
motion to
nobody-
accept. Yeah, make a
I
motion
see-
to accept the minutes as amended.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Second.
Okay, who was the second? I saw Peter Alfieri and someone else, but,
I
Good.
okay, well, we're gonna give it to Peter. We're gonna give it to Peter and I know why I'm gonna give it to Peter this time. So, all in favor, say aye.
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 Deny? Abstain? So moved. So all well drilling licenses are now open book in the state of Connecticut, W1 through 10, and the J1, J2s, and that's it. Great. So we have that's all set, and everybody have the schedule for meetings for next year. Is everybody all set with those dates?
Yes.
I know Rochelle had sent out to everyone a copy of those dates, and I thought they were pretty good on my end, so I did respond back to her a while back.
Yep. All good.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, who sent that email out?
You know what,
With
Mr.
the,
Policia, I'm glad you brought that up. Are you still having problems with the getting emails from the department on certain items still?
It seems that way. There was some that you had mentioned recently that I did not receive, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's from my end with my. I have gone through my spam mail and so forth, and I'm not sure. But bottom line is I have not received them all, and I don't remember seeing that one about the dates coming up.
Yeah, I have some problems as well from the department, and it's not Rochelle. When Karen was here as well, I would have problems. It's like a constant. I have to check the trash and the junk. It's just however we're getting stuff is a constant. If Rochelle, if you could reach out to Joe, perhaps can we still maybe make if it's a correction on the IT side with Jason, I'm not sure, or can Mr. Policia receive in paper mail? Lastly, God forbid we want to go all back to paper again. I've been, believe it or not, a non-computer guy like myself is asking for that. But if Mr. Policia could get somehow, until we can get him straightened out, his email with the department. Perhaps, is there another email that he has through the Connecticut agencies? joe.policia@ct.gov or something else that he could, maybe it's going there, or maybe he should be looking at that as well.
Right. So I'll reach out after the meeting. I have found success with some other board members that were having issues if they add both my email and that DCP board's email as a contact. That kind of helps it stop going to your junk mail as well. But I'll reach out and we'll figure it out for sure. But I'll make sure we're all set to go. And if there is a new email that we want to update, I can absolutely do that as well too. So
yeah, we don't want to try to go back to the paper. I didn't want to see Jason Cohen cringing there.
I don't know if everyone felt it.
I also didn't get the meeting dates. I just looked through all my
I didn't send the meeting dates to everybody. They had just gone to the chairman directly.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry about
so I don't think I added them to the minutes today, so I apologize. But it's January 25th, April 25th, July 25th, and then October 24th. But I'll post that as well. I'll make sure an email goes out with those dates.
Can you send them as meeting invites, and that way we can?
Yep, that's what's going to happen. So I was just waiting till we finish our last meeting this year, and then all the new dates will come out. So
great, thank you.
Okay.
Great. Does anybody else have anything under comments or concerns moving forward for the following year? I know Chip has looked into some ideas about the continuing education. We get a good handle on it a couple of years in advance here moving forward. Is there anybody else having any thoughts going forward that we need to address?
Are we all set with hearings?
I'm sorry.
Are we caught up with hearings?
I believe we have some hearings in January coming up, right?
Yes, January 11th is there will be 3 hearings on that day.
Now, does that come from you, Rochelle, or does that come from Cynthia Fernandez that's running that meeting?
Cynthia's running it, but I do send the invites and everything. So an invite was sent out for that already, I believe, but I'll double check.
Thank you. I'm all
Great.
set then.
Okay, thank you. Okay, does anybody else have anything, any thoughts?
Mr. Chairman, John Messner here. I just want to
Yes.
put it out to the board, like you and I had spoken about, with the recent changes to the well exams now being open book, that we will be conducting a well examination review probably sometime in February. So as soon as I get notification from PSI, I will put that out to the board with as much notice as possible.
Thank you, John.
Yep.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's great.
Mr. Mesner, Mr. Chairman, question to Mr. Mesner about the PSI business portion. There was an email regarding that, and was anything new on that or date set?
Thank you, Mr. Felicia. So, and this is more to Mr. Pember because he was on it, and I also forwarded to Mrs. Sheffy as well. That exam review is going to be canceled. Just was talking with PSI yesterday on this. There's not enough data right now to be because they're not really having any issues with the questions. They just ran that data, and I was just actually communicating the contact at PSI yesterday how to go forward. So where I left off is they were going to roll out the new edition, which is the 6th edition of the NASLA Business and Law book, and they're going to derive some new data. So we'll look forward to doing a business and law exam review probably in a year or so. Once those new questions come out, to see if there's any difficulty with the new questions with the new reference that's now available. So you're hearing it here first. So I didn't have a chance to send an email on that one.
Thanks, John.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
that heads up. Are there any, we finished the plumbing. We're going to be looking into the wells, business law section there too a little bit. Is there anything else? Anybody has any concerns about training, education on the PSI sites, or is everybody okay? I seem to be working pretty closely with PSI on some stuff, and they seem to be really coming around full circle. Is that what everybody else from this board is hearing as well, or is there any anything still going on as far as that's concerned?
I've heard nothing to the contrary.
Okay, great, Aaron. Thank you for that. Great. Yeah, things are doing good. I know, I believe Jason has worked closely with PSI and Michael over at licensing to work out some things with them as well. And do you think, Jason, things are looking up with PSI?
I do. It seems to go. Probably the biggest change is that people are no longer applying to PSI. They're now applying to DCP, and we provide the list of approved applicants to PSI. So I think that process is moving much more smoothly.
Thanks, Jason. Jay, how you doing over there with the application processes every month? Everything's going well?
Yeah, it's going well, Chuck. Yeah, everyone's working together on it, and it seems to be smooth. I think we all agree and on the application. So yeah, no, I think it's a good team you have.
Great. I want to thank everybody for helping out this year, jumping right in. Chip and Joe and you, Jay, and Aaron up there with the well drillers, and it's just been really great to have everybody. I don't want to miss anybody, but thanks for taking a lot of stuff off my back and stress level. I've got a lot on my plate, so I want to thank everybody. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. All your families be safe and healthy, and take care of the next guy. Okay, thank you.
Same to you, Chuck.
Same to you.
Happy holidays.
Same to you.
Happy
Bye-bye.
holidays.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Merry
everyone. Nice to
Christmas.
meet you.
Bye, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So long.